Hi, my name is Thatcher Kamen, and on behalf of MDG, we bring you this episode of 3x5. That's 3 takeaways in 5 minutes. And today we'll be talking with Chief Marketing Strategist Kimberly Hardcastle about how event organizers should be setting themselves up for success once we're on the other side of this crisis. But Kimberly, before we go there, I want to get your opinion on just when you think that will be.
Well, that's a really good question. I've been doing a lot of research on this. I read an article last week about, why it's so hard to predict when we're going to be on the other side of this pandemic, and why even infectious disease experts and epidemiologists can't quite figure it out. But in general, I think we're hearing a lot of mixed messages. And the only thing I feel really sure about is that we're likely going to ease our way back into business as usual, either because that's what we're going to be told to do by government or health officials, or because it's going to take a little while for attitudes to change. So while we might be able to go to the grocery store soon without a mask on, we might not be able to gather with 100,000 of our industry colleagues at a trade show. But again, it's hard to know.
It is definitely hard to know, Kimberly. And so a lot of organizers are thinking about their next event, whether it's going to be in the last quarter of this year or sometime in 2021. And things are obviously changing so fast for so many of us. What should event organizers be doing right now to ensure they are making all of the necessary pivots?
What you should be doing right now is audience research. So you need to either be putting together an online survey or an approach to qualitative phone research to sort of test the sentiment of your audience. Most importantly, you need to be asking them questions about how their businesses have changed, what's keeping them up at night. Also, what opportunities might be out there for them to seize now, and find out a little bit more about what kind of information or support that they might want from you. And if you are an event organizer, you can ask them how likely they are to attend your next event. But you also just have to be aware that sentiments are likely going to continue to shift and budgets are going to evolve. So and again, as I was saying, we don't know exactly how the pandemic is going to play out or how long. So if somebody tells you today that they're going to come to your event in November, I wouldn't necessarily go to the bank on it, but it's kind of helpful information to have.
That's great perspective to have there, Kimberly. And so once the research is done, what's next?
So after you've tested your audience sentiment, my second recommendation is to work through a SWOT analysis, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats, with a cross-functional team within your organization. And you can do this in a Zoom meeting. So I personally would recommend dedicating like 90 minutes to 2 hours for the exercise. And I would primarily focus on the new opportunities and threats that you're facing today that you weren't facing pre-COVID-19. So, do you have a competitor that's canceled an event, or do you have one that's rescheduled with dates that are right on top of yours now? Is there a prospective partner that maybe you've never considered working with before that you could form an alliance with now? Are there certain segments of your audience that have been decimated or are under travel restrictions that you're going to need to replace? Think through all of those considerations and discuss those as part of this exercise.
What about the actual tactical execution of the event marketing campaigns? How do those need to adapt?
Yeah, so very similar to my second tip, my third recommendation is to ensure that you're basing your tactical plan and marketing spend on current strategy, not what was in place pre-COVID-19. So it's quite possible that those personas and customer journey maps that you created became outdated virtually overnight. I'd bet money that your content marketing strategy needs to evolve. So it's going to be important that you are shifting to engage participants in a way that's going to address their pain points and how they've changed. So objectives, budgets, even the resources that you're using to deliver, everything needs to be rethought now.
That's great, Kimberly. Thank you for your time, and thank you to everybody for tuning in to this episode of 3x5. That's 3 takeaways in 5 minutes, and we appreciate everybody tuning in over the next couple of weeks as we'll be bringing you more episodes, so please stay tuned, and thank you again for watching.
Thanks, Thatcher. Bye.